Peter didn't realize that defeating the dark entity was not the end, but just the beginning of a greater horror. After that battle in his mind, he began to feel strange effects manifesting in his body. His dreams were filled with symbols and mysterious voices whispering his name, as if something from another dimension was trying to reach him. One night, as Peter walked through the narrow alleys of the city, he heard footsteps behind him. The shadows moved unnaturally, as if they were watching him. He paused for a moment and turned around, but saw no one. Yet something inside him told him that an entity was following him, one that knew everything about him. Peter began to notice that the people around him were changing. His friends and colleagues at work started acting strangely, staring at him with empty eyes, as if they were mere puppets moving without souls. Even Mary Jane, the love of his life, began behaving suspiciously, showing false concern and repeating nonsensical phrases. One night, while Peter sat in his room trying to focus on a plan to deal with this phenomenon, he started hearing noises within the walls. The noises grew louder over time until the wall began to crumble, revealing a dark passage that stretched into nowhere. The passage was calling to him, and he felt an irresistible force pushing him to walk into it. Slowly and cautiously, Peter stepped into the passage. The walls were covered with ancient symbols and mysterious writings that seemed to be etched in blood. As he ventured deeper, the noises faded into broken whispers. But he could feel that something or someone was watching him. At the end of the passage, Peter found a dark room with a large mirror in the center. He approached it cautiously, and when he looked into the mirror, he didn't see his reflection but saw the dark entity itself, grinning wickedly. The mirror was a gateway between worlds, and the entity was trying to cross over to take control of his body once more. In a moment of shock, the mirror began to crack, and from those cracks, strange creatures started seeping out, as if emerging from the depths of a dark hell. Peter had no choice but to fight, but this time, the battle was different. He wasn't just fighting for himself, but for the entire world. As the battle raged on, Peter realized that his strength alone wouldn't be enough to defeat these creatures. He had to rely on his intelligence and courage, using every lesson he had learned. He employed all his knowledge and power to face these beings, but he could feel the dark entity growing stronger with each passing minute. In the crucial moment, Peter remembered something from his past, something buried deep in his memory. An old promise he made to himself when he became Spider-Man, that he would protect everyone, no matter the cost. That memory was the driving force that gave him the final surge of energy to defeat the entity. With one last blow, the mirror shattered into thousands of fragments, and as each shard fell, a part of the dark entity disappeared until it was completely gone. But Peter knew the darkness wasn't over yet, and that this battle was just the beginning. There were secrets he had yet to uncover, and powers far greater than the dark entity waiting for him in the shadows. As he emerged from the passage and returned to the city, the sky was filled with clouds, and lightning lit up the horizon. A war was coming, a war between light and darkness, and Peter knew he would be at the heart of it. There was no escape, but Peter was not afraid. He was ready to face whatever was coming because he realized that true strength wasn't in his superpowers but in his unbreakable will.